So hi guys, welcome to my next video. This is issue stage 33 and 34 of the Eddie Stobart.
I've pounded the road from coast to coast, Yorkie and me rolling on. 'Cause a long day's run can be short on fun without Yorkie to help me along.
So hello guys, welcome to stage 33, and in this stage we're going to be starting work on the exhaust and the silencer. So as is my new tradition, let's do the screws first. So in no particular order, actually the order that I've picked them up. We start off with DPO3, which according to this don't exist, and that's because the bag actually says DPO8, not DPO3. So DPO8 is PB 1.8 by 4mm screws, and there should be 3 of them, and there are 3. Then the next bag we have got DPO7. Now DPO7 is 2.3 by 4mm PBs, 2.3 by 4mm, should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lovely jubbly. Next up we have DPO9, and I believe this might be a brand new screw. Excuse me. Oh, sorry. Excuse me. Sorry. DPO9 is 1.8 by 6mm. I certainly don't recognise it. There are 3 of those, and there are 3 of those, and then that will leave DDO4, and again I think this might be a new screw as well. DDO4 is 1.8 by 3.5 pm. Now I don't recognise it, but I've not been keeping my screws for many issues, so we may have had it hundreds of times for all I know. Right, so the parts. Now at this stage I can't tell the difference between the two because they're in the magazine like this. So one is silencer part A, one is silencer part B, but because I can see from the connections on the inside, we will know the difference once we actually once we start building, but at the moment I don't know which is which. Part 3 is the main exhaust pipe, which is this piece here. I can tell from the length of it and the connections. I'm running out of room on this little flannel because we've got all these parts, but I think they're all going to come together in the next 2 issues. So 3304 is the main exhaust pipe. Sorry, I read the wrong description. So there's part 4. Part 5 is the mounting plate. We seem to have quite a lot of protective plates and mounting plates and all sorts. And then that is it for parts. So I think there's a lot more screws than there are parts this issue. Right, and there is a little note as well. Note this above shows the insides of the 2 parts of the silencer, 33.1, 32, 33. Right, okay, right, so they've given us 2 pictures, so let me show you this. So there we've got our normal parts guide, but then they've given us an extra one so that it shows us which is which. So 33.1 is the one with nothing in it, and 33.2 is the one that looks like some kind of circuit board type, all these holes everywhere. So that was the first thing that came to mind, circuit board. I don't know why I said circuit board. Right, so we need to take the exhaust assembly from the previous issue, which is this one. I don't like the word issue. Issue suggests there's a problem. I prefer previous stage. So identify the flat end, there we go, the flat end of the turbo pipe 32.1 and the matching end of the exhaust pipe 33. So there's the flat end, there's a flat end, and it's going to go in like that. We've just got to work out, that don't look right, there we go, that's better. So it's a case of, how do we know which is the right? Okay, right, screws match, screws don't match, screws, right, so it's either that way or it's that way. And looking at the magazine orientation, I think this is the right way, because we've got this is going over to the right. You can see the flat bit that rounded. We've got the pipe going in this way, then we've got that pipe going off down there, and then this tab is coming in. If it went the other way, it would look like that, and that tab would be in the wrong place. So I'm going with this direction, but we know if I get it wrong we can just undo those screws. So fix the parts together with two 1.8mm by 4mm PBs. Note that only 2 screws are fitted, the other 2 are fitted in step 4. Right, so the 2 that are being fitted looks like these 2 here where my thumb is, and we leave the ones where my index finger is. So let's have a bash at fitting these screws. I'm going to get rid of that black screw. Oh, this is the problem with picking up screws with a screwdriver. A magnetic screwdriver picks all of them up. Right, so I think we are, but if I get this wrong and I fitted the screws in the wrong holes, we'll find out later on, and then I can just fix it. Right, so what's happened there, I'll show you in a sec. Look, you see that that's opened up, and the reason for that is that as I've screwed it in, I've not held them tight enough. Now all screws are lazy, and they will always take the path of least resistance. So because I've not pushed that down hard, all it's done is just push them apart. So we've got to make sure that's held down quite firmly, and again that's not held down firmly enough. It's trying hard to not go through that hole. We just have to make sure it knows that we are the boss. So there we go. Right, I'm going to use this screwdriver purely because the length of the width of the shaft. I'm finding that wide screw is a little bit awkward. This is why a selection of screwdrivers is always good. There we go. So I honestly believe that they are the right screws, but as I say, we'll find out in a minute, won't we? So turn the assembly over to this position, and now I'm thinking the screws are wrong. No, I think the screws are right. I'm looking at the picture in the magazine, and it's showing that these 2 bottom screws are the holes that have got the screws in. So we are, take the mounting plate 33.5 and check how it fits against the exhaust pipe, and that's just dropped on my floor. Thankfully I have a rug so it doesn't go too far. Right, so there's 2 sets of holes. One's got a locating pin in it which we can't use because there's no pin, and then there's 2 holes here that have got a little rounding bit in the middle, and that's obviously going to go around this pipe. So it's either going to go like that or it's going to go like that. So it's very hard to see exactly how it goes just from the 2-dimensional picture, or maybe I'm starting to go blind, I don't know. I think it goes like that because it looks like there's a little step there. But again, if we get it wrong, I can always change it because they're just being screwed in, they're not being glued in. Right, so the small flange fits on the end of the flat pipe so that the indent fits around the pipe. Fix the mounting plate in place with two 1.8 by 6mm screws. These are the new screws that we've got, and obviously the reason they're using 6mm is they're 4mm, and then this has got a little bit more on top, so you need to add a little bit longer screw. So now, is that coming from above or below? I think that's going to come from above because then all the screws come from the same position. So, wish me luck, guys. Is this right? Right. I'm now thinking it's right because as you see things from different angles, and then maybe you look forward into future stages that you're going to be doing later on, and you're seeing how parts fit, but it's there's nothing really obviously clear that I can use. I mean, it might well be that when I reach that particular stage, then it will go, oh, obvious. But I'll be honest with you, I'm not noticing anything obvious at the moment. So, but you know, there's only ever two outcomes. This is either right or it's wrong. There we go. Right, so I think that's step 4 done. It will be. So the photo shows how the mounting plate is angled against the joint. It doesn't really show it that well. It shows it a little bit. It will be fitted to the motor assembly from issue 32. Right, so fitting the exhaust and silencer. So we need to take, let's move those out of the way. Position the exhaust assembly along the side of the engine. So we want this going off in that direction. This is a real, make sure you read the magazine issue this week. Right, so we've got bits shooting off above, and then we want to take this part, wants to go like that. So is that, this is going into that hole there. So how's that getting fixed permanently? Is it just a push fit? Right, the shaped end of the inlet pipe fits over the top of the engine. The end of the pipe fits in a hole in part 26.3 arrow. Right, so that's obviously just going to push in like that. I would imagine, do you know, I think I've got that right, look. Now it becomes obvious, but not until you've got that plate on, because that is obviously going to go into there. But that is too low. Right, so turn the assembly up. No, I think I'm a bit premature there. Right, so 2 screw holes in the mounting plate align with the screw holes. That I see, look, there's an aligning peg there and it needs to go into the middle hole. And there we go. It didn't really want it's because I'd got it caught there as well. Right, so that's gone in quite nice. So that doesn't need to be screwed in that end because it's being held there, and it's just, there isn't the wiggle room for it to fall out. But having said that, all of this, okay, I can see there's a screw hole here as well. So it's all a case of getting everything lined up. So now I've got this bit in, I'm going to hold that in with my thumb, and we'll just try and wiggle this around. There we go. There we go. Right, that looks a lot better, doesn't it? And unfortunately, this then falls out. There we go. Yeah. So you've got a point there. It's not obviously clear, but it will be later. Right, okay. So we want to screw this bit in first, and we want to use 1.8 by 3.5 PM screws. Which I think these are a new screw. I don't think I've seen them before, but some of you will tell me otherwise. So I'm going to go for the easy option first and go for this lower screw. I think once that's in place, I think it will make everything easy. And again, handling this engine is difficult because everywhere that you put your finger, you bend something, you knock something, but I'll be honest with you, I've said it before, these rubbery bits there, they're so much better because it's not brittle. It's got a little bit of give, so if you do accidentally touch it, whereas with brittle plastic it would snap, because it's rubber it's just bending, and it's kind of giving you the warning, oh yeah, I'm here. You know, don't touch me or you'll break me. And you're like, it gives you the opportunity to go, sorry. Right, there we go. So that is obviously going to be a difficult screw to put in because we're screwing into metal. But that's gone in nice. Very, very nice. Right, so turn the assembly over. So we're on this side, so now we want to go, there we go, so that you can access the underside of the engine. We've got a third one here, look. This needs to go over there, so it's probably, there we go, once we get into there it's even more comfortable. So we've got the plate there, we've got, there we go, bottom of the engine, so we can access the bottom. So that's our next screw to put in. So the screw hole on the turbine part 32.8 aligns with the socket on the rectangular tab on the exhaust manifold, and that's going to be a 2.3 by 4mm PB screw. And that's still lining up. That's nice. Isn't it great when things just come together? I'm sure that was that a TV advert for Honda? Don't you just love it when things just work? There we go. That's perfect. And I'm going to suspect that the next one is going to be a screw in there. No, it isn't. It isn't. So I guess that's going to come later. I can see why it's not coming now, because it's not coming yet. Right, so step 5, take the silencer part 33.2 and fit the flat end of the part 33.4, which is going to go against the sockets in the corner of the silencer. A peg on part 33.4 fits into one of the holes, green arrow, so that needs to go in. So now, oh, I see, it's showing you like this, but it needs to flip over. Fits in the corner, son, into one of the holes, and the other, and the screw hole in part 33.4 aligns with the other hole, red arrow. Just want to double check this. Yeah, I do think that is the right side, because this is near the top, this is more in the middle. Right, fix in place with a 2.3 by 4mm PB screw. 2.3 by 4, Oh, it's getting a bit more technical now, isn't it? I had a couple of issues where I was kind of thinking, do you know what, I'm glad I'd done 2 or 3 issues together, because there wouldn't have been much to do otherwise. But this, I could have quite happily done this issue as a single one. Right, so similarly, fit the holes in the other end of the silencer against the flat section of the exhaust pipe. Now this is going to be slightly awkward because it's going to have to go this way. So, oh, that's not too bad because we're going to fix it from that side. So fix in place with a 2.3 by 4mm PB screw. So going to be careful here. So I'm going to hold it like this. So I'm protecting all of the engine, but this part is going to push into my palm, so I am able to support that as well. I'm not pushing with my palm, I'm just supporting, and I'm kind of countering the pressure from the screwdriver. There we go, that's lovely. Right, so right, take the silencer part A and check the fit against the silencer in part B. Prongs fit into sockets. So, and this is only one way this can fit. So that's going to go in. Can you see that going in there? There's 2 holes, and that's going in just like that. And I know I have missed a step because I've got no screw hole there, but I can see from the completed picture there is a screw. So I'm going to go back. Right, so it's prior to step 6. So, and there it is, it's step 3. So I've actually jumped from step 2 to step 4. So it's not a problem. So I wanted to know which screw I've missed out. So it's as I thought it would be. It's a 2.3 by 4mm PB screw, which is, I thought it was that, but I really want to just see it written down so that I know I'm using the correct screw. So let's support that as best I can, and then that just goes in there like so. So maybe if I'd have got this screw in at the right plate at the right time, maybe I wouldn't have needed to support this as much. But having said that, that is that stage complete, and I believe we have got one more video on the engine area. So let's have a look at stage. It's difficult to know what to do with this now because there's pointy out bits all over the place. I can't wait till we actually fit this. So stage 34 is going to be the radiator, fan and housing. So let's have a look. Plonk the parts there. Whoops, see, I've caught the engine again. Right, so let's have a look at the screws first, as we always do. DP06, 2 1.2 by 4mm PB screws, so 1.2 by 4mm, and there should be 2 of those, 1 spare, and there are 2 of them. In they go. Whoa, I just caught the engine again. And the last one is DP07. And DP07 is 4 2.3 by 4mm PBs, and there are 4. Whoops, missed. Tipped over. Right, so the list of parts. Excuse me. Right, radiator housing back, which is this bit. Part 2 is the radiator fan. You want to tell me that was red? Part 3 is the radiator front, and that's got some nice detail. See what I mean? Like, you can't see that detail, but it is very nice actually. So part 4, now they've called it a radiator base. I've heard people speculating about what this is. Is it to do with the electronics? And yeah, it probably is, to be honest with you, but for today it's called the base of the radiator. And then lastly we've got 34.5 is the radiator pipe. So I don't know how many times I'm going to catch that with my finger. So we have, what are we doing now? So take the radiator fan 3402 and fit it onto the raised screw socket in the center of the large wheel within the fan belt. Note that there is a tab on the fan belt assembly which fits into a socket in the fan. Right, so this way round, we've been working our way all the way down, now we've come all the way back up. So I'm going to hold it this way, a little bit like we were flying an aeroplane. So we are right, so we've got a little keyhole fitting there, and we've got a little keyhole lock bit, and that is the only way. I can't see that this needs to go a specific way, but it can only go one way. And then step 2, we're going to fix the radiator fan in place by fitting a 2.3 by 4mm PB screw there's a 3B screw into the central hole in the fan and tightening it. So if you can see that there, pretty obvious there's going to be a screw hole there though, isn't there? Because we saw the other end of it. Now this is quite tricky because there is nowhere to hold it. It's holding it hard enough to be able to drive that screw home, but also not holding it where it can damage parts. I've done very well, I think, in not damaging any parts. And if you've got this far and not damaged any parts, big pat on the back. But this is the point where I don't want to damage any parts now, because we're almost there. Once this is fitted to the actual chassis, that's it. It's nothing to damage it anymore once it's in and covered. Right, so that's that fitted. So the next thing we need to do is take the radiator housing 34.1 and fit the rounded side over the fan 34.2. The holes in the centre of the housing align with sockets in the fan, yellow arrow. A small screw hole in the corner of the housing aligns with a socket on the engine. Right, so let's have a look at this. So at the moment it's either going that way or it's going that way. I can see there's a hole there, so does that make any difference? None whatsoever. Right, so it's going that way. It has to go that way. Ah, right. So you see here you've got 2 plugs. I'm going to call them plugs. And then you've got a hole there and you've got a hole on the top. As that goes in, they're going to want to go in there. Look, can you see that pipe goes there, and that's going in, and I've just caught another pipe down there. That's okay. Right, so that's how the radiator's going in. So you see this is where the water's circulating around. Obviously you've got water in there, and that fan is cooling the water. That water's then going along that pipe around the engine and cooling it, and then the hot water is coming in somewhere else. In fact, it might be coming in there and then going out but it's basically hot water's going in, getting cooled a little bit by the fan, and then it's going out again. But that's how that's fitting anyway. So identify 2 screw holes near the centre of the rectangular side. These are aligned radiator housing, so a pipe at the top of the engine fits into the socket. Fix in place part 34.1 in place using 2.3 by 4mm PB screws. So I'm going to use this screwdriver simply because I've got an engine in my hand and it's the nearest screwdriver to me, but that is in place just enough to hold it. So whoops, it was a bit of a gamble resting it down on the radiator, but obviously I would have caught it if it fell over. So again, we're having this problem of where to hold the engine so that we can get a good grip on the screw. Wondering if now that we've got this radiator in, can we hold the radiator, because there's less things to break on that. Now this isn't designed to hold any weight, so it's not advisable to hold it by the radiator housing. Saying that, it's going in fine now. There we go, that's in. So as I say, the next step says identify the screw. Right, so it's actually going to ask us to screw this in. So this pipe needs to go in and get screwed in there. I'm sorry I haven't got enough camera angle. There we go. Can you see that screw in there? Screw hole. And that needs to be fixed with a 1.2 by 4mm screw. So I'm going to try this screwdriver head. I'm sure this is the one that I used successfully earlier. As you know, these screws I'm struggling with. When I did find the right screwdriver head, it was like magic. Right. I think half the problem is if I don't get it into the hole first time, it's oh god, I'm coming out with innuendos there now, aren't I? I was about to say there's a lot of fumbling around, but I didn't want to say that because I know how some of your minds work, guys. Well, I'm sorry you can't actually see what I'm doing, but I can assure you that I am. Oh, here is the head. I think that's it. It's going round and round, but that's the one. That is the one. See, when you found the correct screwdriver head, the job is so easy. Right, so this housing is now actually attached with 3 screws. And that one don't seem to want to stop screwing. Right, so that's in. So this is obviously one of these loose pipes. I'm still not convinced that that's red. I'm convinced that that's rubber. I think that's black rubber, because that's a normal radiator pipe. And I've not driven vehicles from the 60s, but I've driven basic vehicles, and when it comes to commercial vehicles, they all seem to have the rule of if it isn't broken, don't fix it. And I think that's a rubber pipe. But anyway, I digress. So take the radiator pipe, that's this one, 34.5. One end fits into a socket in the coolant pipe. Right, there we go, just there. And the other fits into the radiator. So that must be the wrong way round. So this got to be the longer end because it's got further to go down. So that's going in there like that, and the other end goes into there. That's not a very tight fit, but it's one of these things that has no reason to fall out. So that's in, and I think no glue is needed. So that's it, guys. That is it for the two issues. That is it for the engine area. We have the front and the base, but it says that they'll be fitted in a future issue. What I'm going to do, I'm going to push that in there, just so it doesn't fall out, and I can see that that's going to go in. That's a push fit connection, isn't it? Right, so I think that might not be a good idea to push that on. It's probably not going to, we're not going to add anything probably, but, and then this is going to go, yeah, that's going to clip it. Ah, that doesn't clip in, that goes in. It's going to go in either that way, or it's, do you know what I think? I think this is where the switch is going to be, right? Because there's a hole in the back of the radiator. So if you look there, for no reason whatsoever, there's a hole in the radiator. If you look at it from the front, if you place this on like so, not that way because it's not wanting to go. If you place that on, can you see that that hole there seems to be coincidentally switch shaped? This is a push fit connection, like so, and because it's a push fit connection, it means you can remove it, and this is going to sit behind the bonnet, which is going to fold down. This is the on off switch. I'll bet my bottom dollar on it. I don't have $1, but I would bet my bottom dollar on it if I had it. There's a little screw hole there which might be to hold the wires in, but I think there's going to be a switch there. That's going to be your on off switch for the whole thing. I'm declaring that now. Right, so that is it for stages 33, 34. All I can tell you is next issue will be the lighting and circuit board, and I'm about to give everybody spoilers. So if you don't want to know what's coming, this is the end of the video. Hit the stop button now. But 35 is going to be the lighting and the circuit board. 36 is going to be the mounting bars for the rear right mudguard. 37 is going to be the lights for the rear right mudguard. Why they have lights on the mudguard, I'm not sure yet. The next 3 issues are going to be the ones that I hate, but they have to be done. Get them over and done with. 38, and the way they've done this, I think they've drawn this out a little bit. 38 is the first rear right wheel. 39 is the tyre for the rear right wheel, which means that if all we're doing is a tyre, we need 1 tyre, 1 bowl of water, 1 part that we got from last week. The issue will be over in 5 minutes. Then issue 40 is the parts for the inner right rear wheel, and I don't know what's coming beyond issue 41, but issue 41 is probably going to be the tyre for the inner right rear wheel. That will give us 2 wheels. So we've got the front wheels, we're then going to have 2 wheels for the right hand side. hopefully 42 will not be the wheels on the other side. But then on the other hand, I prefer to have, once we get the chassis, I prefer to put the wheels on. I don't like 2 wheels or 3 wheels. I'd just rather not put the wheels on until they're needed. But I'm having the feeling that if we've got the wheels, we've got the cab area pretty much there. Obviously we haven't got the steering wheel and stuff yet, but we've got the basis for the cab area. We've got 2 doors, we've got an engine. I think the chassis is coming very, very soon. I'm going to make speculation, guys, that the chassis is coming. Worst case scenario, 41 is a tyre. That means that 42, 43, 44, 45 will be the other wheels. Worst case scenario. I think 46 will be a chassis. Possibly 47 or 47 will be a second part of a chassis. I think that will be fitting the wheels and placing the engine. And just like the Routemaster, we are going to end up with a chassis with just an engine on and the wheels. And then everything else will get built around it. But that is what's coming in the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 issues. Now, I'm filming this on Wednesday, on a Friday, the 27th of May. Yes, I filmed 4 videos in one day. I know that goes against my principles, but there you go. I believe issue 35 came out 2 days ago, and we do know it's going to be Lightning Circuit Board. Obviously, I haven't received 35 yet because that's in my next pack. But if anyone's got 35, well, I'll be honest with you, by the time this video is released, let me just check my spreadsheet. So this video will be released on the 29th of June, which is a month from when I'm filming it, which should, fingers crossed, be 1 week after I receive my parts 35 to 38. So by then by the time this video comes out, I'll be able to check myself, and hopefully I'll have more information on what comes from issue 41 onwards. Now, as I say, this is being released on the 29th of June, and that means that I should have received 35. I am thinking I am going to do a video on weathering, panel washing. I think I'm going to do that separate from any issues, and I don't think I'm going to do any issues when I do the panel washing. So I'm not going to release 2 videos in a day. I'm not going to do it as part of a video. So you won't know until this video comes out if I've made my mind up, but next week might not be a build video, but if next week isn't a build video, the week after will be a double build. And also I need to look at, let me find my phone. What I do is lose my phone. Right, so this week is week ending 28th of May. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, I think I'll have received my Eddie Stobart for next week, for next month. By the time you see this, I've already got the next 4 issues. So if 6th of July I do, yeah, if I do the engine panel washing and then do a double episode, that should take me to the 20th of July, which means that issue 38 will be released when I'm receiving issue 39, so that gives me a week to film. I don't want to put myself in a position where I'm just chucking out lots and lots of videos and then all of a sudden I've got nothing 1 week because I've not got the content. Anyway guys, so sorry I'm waffling on. So next week may possibly not be a build, and I won't know until you're watching this. I want to do some power. This has got so much absolute look, you can't see anything there, can you? It just looks like a wonderful engine. But if I turn the view again, you know, but once you get really close, look at all that detail. Look in there. Does that detail not deserve to be shown off? That is, I think the best thing I can do for that. That I have a moral obligation to show that detail off. So yeah, I think I'm going to try and do a video, which is part of the reason why I'm trying to get ahead on them. Right guys, so I waffle no more. So next week I'll be doing the weathering video on that, and I will catch you the week after. Well, I'll catch you next week, but I'll catch you in another video. We'll do a couple more double builds, and then I'll be completely caught up, and I will be one of the forerunners for building the Eddie Stobart. In fact, actually, now that I've got my last free gift, I might even cancel a subscription and get it from the newsagents every week. But the only problem with that is that it relies on me getting it every Wednesday. And did I tell you guys I've got my new job that I've wanted for ages? I've waited ages and ages and ages and ages. The only drawback is that I'm away for 2 days at a time. But it's great because it's longer hours with more rest time. So I won't be doing these 12-hour shifts I'm doing. By the time I come home, it's time to go to bed, and then get up in the morning off to work. So I lose 3 days at a time. When I'm doing this other job, it's get down to London, jump in a hotel, a few hours to yourself because you've got no travel time. Get up in the morning, drive back. Not even driving all the way back because it's double manning. I can only drive 9 hours a day, and it's a 12-hour journey. So I'm only driving 6 hours out of the 12. So what do I do during those 6 hours? Well, I sit and chill. So anyway, guys, this is all stuff I should be talking about in a live. So take care, guys, and we'll catch you in another video. Thanks ever so much for putting up with me for all this time.